Hi there, and welcome to this week's Bliss in Real Estate. It is April 15th, 2021, and this is our second episode. I'm super excited today. I'm sitting here in my home office in Placerville, and we're going to be talking about a couple different things, super important. Number one is chatting with our expert on getting your house ready for sale. And then a couple little pieces of news for the county, both that we rank as very affordable for California, and also sort of a change for Placerville's new history. So welcome, I'm Morgan Larson. I'm with the Bliss Real Estate team, and today we have Tara Wister here with us from Artistically Staged. And Tara, why don't you tell us a couple things about yourself?
Okay, well, I live here in Dorado County. I'm down in Dorado Hills. I've been doing this for about 4 years now, so I've kind of seen the market kind of before and now after COVID, or during COVID still. I have 2 kids that attend the schools here in Dorado County, and I was born in Pennsylvania, so I'm an East Coast girl, and I've been here about 20 years now. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Almost as long as me.
Yes.
And Tara and I go way back, actually. When I very first moved to the county, I met Tara and her family. And so it's just been sort of serendipity that we both ended up in the real estate industry, but in 2 different businesses. So Tara, let's chat a little bit about getting a house ready for sale. Why don't you tell me, let's just start off with why you think it's really important to do more than just cleaning up the house to get your house ready for sale.
Well, I'd say it's kind of like going on a job interview. You want to kind of put your best foot forward. First impressions matter. So even if you're ready to sell and you think, oh, the market's hot, why do I need to sell it? It actually is important. Most of the buyers are looking online first, and their first impression is going to be the pictures and how your house looks in those photos. Yeah. So I do feel like that is the reason you should be staging right now, because most people are looking online, and that's what you want to do, is put your best foot forward.
I think you make a good point too. I think I've spoken to a lot of people who are like, well, the market's super hot, so does it even matter if I clean up the house, because I'm going to get, and in their minds, they're going to get 5+ offers no matter what they do. And I would say that's probably the truth, but I also think that the quality of your offer is going to be really different if you have put the time in to get the house ready so that it shows its very best. Would you agree?
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely. I think that you could actually probably get the better offers, put it that way, if your home shows better than, let's say, your neighbor's home that's for sale also, because most neighborhoods right now have multiple homes for sale. And so, in comparison, buyers are still looking for that gem, and so if your house is looking like that gem compared to, let's say, the house right down around the corner, they're going to want to come see your house and want to maybe live in your house, put in a better offer on your home. So yeah. I do think it's important.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, something that in particular, it's harder to relate to. The older we are, the harder it is to relate to this part of it. But we're so in a comparison, Instagram, HGTV world right now. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody watches HGTV. And so yeah. I often will talk to my buyers about buying the HGTV home and how that kind of comes with a premium. And usually the HGTV homes are the ones that have been staged. So I think that definitely the homes that are show ready and put their really the best foot forward possible are getting the most showings and the highest offers.
Yeah, because the buyers want to move into that HGTV home, even if they're, obviously everything that's in there is going to be moved out and they're going to put their own stuff in, but it helps them visualize what the home could be, how mm-hmm. they maybe would lay out that furniture, how, how the wall color, would kind of go with everything. And it gives that homey feeling and that desire to want to live in that particular home. If it has that feeling, like you said, that HGTV feeling, that Instagram, Pinterest worthy, home.
Yeah. So let's move to what are some of the things, what are kind of your top maybe 3 things that people are getting their house ready for sale should do?
Well, on a side note, I think right now it's springtime. So right now, spring, when I think spring, you want those flowers in the yard. You want all the winter cleaned up and make everything nice and fresh, because that's the first thing when someone walks up to your door, they're going to, obviously walk through the front yard up to your front door. You want it to feel bright and welcoming, clean and fresh. So right now it's spring, get the patio furniture out, all that stuff, make it look just ready for spring and summer fun, When it comes to the inside of the home, I do think that staging that entrance, making it open and welcome is very important. The living room, for sure, the family room, your kitchen. Everyone wants that beautiful kitchen. Clean it up, clear off those countertops, put just those fresh flowers, some, fresh fruit, kind of get that in your kitchen, make it feel fresh. And then obviously the master bedroom, bathroom. So those three places I say are very important to pay attention to.
Okay, so let's walk a little bit room by room. Let's start with that entryway. So you want a clean, crisp, fresh, welcoming entry. What are, a couple things that people can do to make that entry nicer?
I do think sometimes people, I myself have furniture in the entrance of my home, but you don't want that furniture to be incumbent on the actual room itself. Like, make sure it's properly sized, or if it's not and you don't have another piece, clear it out, because you want people to walk in, open up, if you have double doors, open up those double doors, feel that there's that room and that welcomeness. If there's a window, open them up, don't pull the blinds open, so that everything is just bright and welcoming. If you do have a table or a piece of furniture, fresh flowers right there, and a nice picture that's appropriately sized for that. You don't want anything too big and you don't want anything too small that you're like, why is that there? So I do think that that's important.
Okay. And let's move to the kitchen. I think that people struggle if they don't have they struggle in their own brain if they don't have the marble countertops and the gray or the white cabinets. But what are some other things that they can do to just make the kitchen look a little bit more palatable and more modern if they can't do a total kitchen overhaul?
I would say clear everything off. Make it feel open, because right there, people want the space in the kitchen. So by clearing all your counters off and having everything kind of just a nice clean slate will right there open up your kitchen without having the coffee maker, the toaster, all your different, cooking, stuff. It's nice to clear that off. I would say, fresh, once again, some fresh flowers, some greenery in there. It just kind of gives that warmth to a kitchen that maybe is, darker, if you have the oak cabinetry or whatever, just something more bright. I always like some fresh fruit or something, some lemons, some limes, that kind of thing. Kind of gives that life to the kitchen, especially when you have a darker kitchen with the darker cabinetry, or maybe the granite that's a little out of date, just some fresh stuff in there, and maybe some white canisters or something like that, just to brighten it up, I think is important.
Okay, great. And earlier when I said entry, I really meant like outside.
Oh, okay.
So your front porch, I know it's like so important, but like I'm not great at putting it all together. Mm-hmm. So what are the things, like should they have a wreath and a front porch mat and plants? Are all of those necessary, or none of those necessary? And how do you match it?
I would say for the mat, especially, go get a new one. If yours is dingy and kind of just seen better days, go out and get a nice fresh mat. It doesn't have to say anything. It doesn't have to be anything like that says, oh, welcome, just something nice and clean, because, you're going to be having people obviously coming through your home and tracking dirt. So it would be nice to have a nice clean place for them to start with. Regarding at the doorstep, I think it's always nice to have some fresh new plants put there. Now, Home Depot and Lowe's right now have those pre-potted where it has a couple combinations, and literally you get a pot, like a tall pot, put that right in the top and it's already planted. It's done. It gives that color to it, and it makes it feel welcoming.
Yeah.
So I would suggest going there.
So front door itself, have you seen trends for front door colors? Should they paint their front door?
I would recommend painting your front door. And actually, bright colors, I love the bright colors. I think they're fun. But when it comes down to it, a black painted door actually will bring you more money. It brings it's actually been a proven thing that a black door will give you better offers. It just has a better first impression.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I know.
Clean and goes with everything.
I think so. And just dark, clean and just dark, that dark color. So I do think that, I mean, I helped with a home recently where they needed to freshen up the paint before they listed it. And it was kind of like a Smurfy blue ahead of time. And we kind of went through and picked out some colors to refresh that paint. And we went with like a grayish color, but even like a nice dark charcoal front door would be really pretty with those grayish colors. You don't necessarily have to go black.
Yeah, my front door is gray.
Yeah, no, and I love that too. So is mine. But that's okay too.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the other like nitty gritty. So, people are always saying, oh, I know I need to take down my personal photos. And it's always interesting how sometimes people do and sometimes people don't. Are there other sort of generalized tips you have for the personalization?
I always do recommend having you remove the personal photos. You're having random people come through your home. It's a personal thing. They want to be able to envision their family in their home, not your family, your previous family. I do recommend it. Now, a lot of when I sold my previous home, I had a gallery of my family photos or whatever. And I actually left the gallery up. I just printed out some pictures and put them inside those frames to cover our personal pictures. So I didn't have to take down what looked nice. It's just, I didn't want everyone looking at my personal photos. So I do recommend that, to put a generic photo in, maybe something that you've already have set up.
Yeah.
Always nice.
I think that's really smart. The other thing I've thought about, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I've often walked into children's rooms and it's the most adorable thing. They'll have like the name in wooden letters. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
I also would recommend taking that down. I mean, let's say you have a Jimmy at home and you go and you look at a house and it's Sarah, on the wall and it's painted pink, and you just want to make your home feel welcome to anyone who's moving into that home, so you just kind of want to take some of those personalized items down. I do think they're sweet too. I mean, obviously, but you're selling your home, you're going to have to pack up the stuff anyway, and so I do think that it's okay to take those things down.
I also think a little bit about safety from that perspective, in that, your house is being blasted all over the internet like it should when it's for sale. But I often think, like, do you really want your children's names on the walls and children's pictures? And I'm not saying that any weirdo is going to come through your house, but the pictures are there on the internet. And I've never heard any stories. I'm not trying to make someone feel super uncomfortable, but I think I would think twice about leaving my child's name and photo in the house.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's that personal safety part of it for sure, the personal privacy part. And you do want people to feel like they can move into that home. So having your stuff, your names all over the place, I think is, it's better just to take those items down.
Yeah.
Feel more welcoming.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk cleanliness. What do you think about, what's your recommendations on cleanliness? Do they do it themselves? Do they hire someone? Do they leave it a disaster? Like, what do you think?
Well, that's the one thing that's great about photos. You don't see the dirt until you get there. So when people get to your house, yes, you want it to smell fresh and clean. I do think there's a few key points and places that I notice when walking into a home to preview it or whatever. The intake for your air filters. I definitely think that those should be cleaned. I think that comes down to a maintenance thing. You see those as dirty and gross. Does that reflect on how the home's been maintained? So I do feel that that's something that's really important to address. Wiping down the baseboards, it'll just make the paint look cleaner and it'll just look taken care of. So I do think wiping the baseboards down and running that vacuum, every day, when people are coming through, especially if you have pets and kids, is important. Washing windows we've had a rainy this time of year. I feel like the windows kind of need to be washed, but I don't, and definitely higher, I would say, outside for that kind of thing. You don't want anyone teetering on a ladder 2 stories out trying to get those clean windows because the stager said so. But I do think that that's another thing, because it just lets more light in and makes everything feel brighter in there. So I do suggest windows also.
Okay. Yeah. I think too, you made a good point about, it's like almost a subconscious thing that a clean house seems like it's been well maintained in other ways, whether it's true or not. I think it gives the presentation that, oh, these people have taken care of their home. I don't see any dents in the wall. It's clean. The paint seems fresh. There aren't cobwebs. So your brain like makes you think that, oh, they've taken care of the air conditioner and the heater and the hot water heater. And it's totally irrelevant and they're not related, but your brain thinks it is.
Yes, it does put your mind at ease. And that's why you have home inspections to check all that stuff out. But, you know, first impression, you would say, oh, okay, this looks like someone's maintained their home and had pride in ownership. And that's what you want someone to feel like, you know, when they're looking at your home.
Yeah. Do you think that, well, I guess we kind of touched on this earlier, but have you read studies about a staged home, like a fully staged home gets more money than an unstaged home? And what are your thoughts?
Well, I do know that I actually looked this up because I was curious about that. So right now we have, you know, the market's kind of, a lot of people are selling while they live in there, which is great, but there are those empty homes, and a staged home sells 73% faster than an empty home because people can visualize how their stuff could work in a home. Whereas when it's empty, sometimes the rooms feel smaller. You're like, oh, would my sectional fit here? So it kind of gives people an idea of what it would look like. So I do feel it's important to do that, especially with a vacant home.
Yeah. We were kind of talking about that the other day, that it's like, well, it's a little hard to quantify the actual price. And there are studies that say X percentage this, X percentage that. But I do know from my own listings, the ones that either are staged with staging furniture or taking the furniture that you have and having someone like Tara come in and rearrange it and give their recommendations, do, along with, of course, beautiful photos, excellent marketing, does seem to get the offers quicker, gets more people through the house. And for sure, those are my ones that are bid up the most. And in a hot market, when, yeah, every house is pretty much getting multiple offers regardless, if you've done that extra effort, it really could be 20 to 50,000 plus more that you make by doing the things.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that it will bring you more money. I do think that there is a lot of competition, but in the end, the offers that you get might be stronger just because your home's presence was much stronger, and the offers are high, you know, start at a higher level, which then continue to go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else you want to share with us on prepping a home for sale or staging?
I know we talked about the spring. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. It was mostly just creating that good first impression, just like you would going on an interview or any of that. You do want people to have that good first impression. And I do think the photos make a difference too. Having a good photographer come in, you know, I know that's one thing that you believe in also, that, you know, you're not that agent that takes your own photos. You know, things are selling fast, but it's still important to have some good photos out there and make sure that your home is being represented, you know, professionally. So
yeah, I think a really good way to put it is like, if you're going on a first date with somebody, are you going to show up showered clean with makeup, your hair done? Maybe you're a guy, you're not wearing makeup, but like, are you going to like put yourself together? Are you going to show up after you've worked out in your worst clothes, you know?
Right.
And sadly, I really do see, and I don't know if it's, there's no other way to put this, laziness on part of both the sellers and the real estate agents, or just complete denial of how the market works these days. But I see more houses. It's surprising to me how many houses show up on the market and have between 8 and 20 pictures that are terrible, and the house is super messy, and there's too much furniture, and just all this stuff. And then I literally will have buyers where I'm like, if you could see beyond that, like you're going to get a good deal. This is a good house.
Right.
Or it may look very different when we show up and they can't see it. And I have buyers right now who will refuse to go look at homes because the pictures are bad, or there's either no furniture or too much furniture.
Right.
So it does matter. And
yeah, it definitely does. I think that, you know, you just want to just present your home, your listings the right way, you know, and I think, you know, by having the good photos and having that, advice on how to make your home look a little bit nicer will bring you more money. I know that when people see those homes that are, you know, the agent took the pictures, or like you said, aren't clean or just really cluttered, the buyer is coming in, oh, maybe I can get a good deal on this and offer lower, not, ooh, this house is great, I'm going to put in a really good offer on this because I want it. So, I mean, you're starting at two totally different perspectives, you know, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we shift gears and talk about some articles, can you just share with people, Tara, where they could find you or reach out to you if they had staging questions directly? I mean, they can always reach out to me and I would, of course, give them your name, but where can they find you online and where can they call you?
I have a Facebook page, that's where, and you can message me through there. It's Artistically Staged Interiors through Facebook. In there is all my information, has some samples of my work. I'm happy to come out and do consultations. Even if you don't want me to come and stage, I kind of can come out and just give a list of, I would suggest this, and here's a few places to find a few filling pieces, those kind of things. Even if you don't want to do a full stage where I bring in all the furniture and spend hours at your home, I can come in and do that. And I feel like that is a good little stepping stone, even if you don't want to do the full on thing. Just to have a list and a checklist to start, I think for a lot of sellers is helpful.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, I will just put it out there that we hire Tara for every single one of our houses to do the consultation. And then depending on our marketing package that we choose, sometimes we hire Tara to do more. So the consultation is huge, because previous, I would do a consultation and I'm not terrible, but it's not my thing. You specialize in it. You know?
Well, and I think it helps the sellers. I think it puts them at ease that they feel that they have a list and they can check it off, and they feel like they're doing something. A lot of the sellers are like, I don't even know where to start, and it gives them a place to start. So I think even for your sellers, it's very beneficial. So it's a good idea.
Well, good. Well, let's switch gears. We've got a couple news pieces that I'd love to hear your input on. So I'm going to share the screen so people can kind of see the articles. Article number 1 is that just as of Tuesday, the Placerville City Council unanimously moved to change the lose the noose, or I guess they losed the noose on the logo. Had you heard about this controversy before, Tara?
It's come and gone here and there, I think, over the years with Placerville, and you know, obviously it's known as Hangtown, so it has always been kind of out there. I didn't know that they were addressing the logo necessarily. I do know that some of, and it says it in the article actually, that some of the government seals and things like that don't use the noose, which I think it's probably a positive light not to use that. But I have heard of that, and this is a very current, hot subject right now, so I could see why they're addressing it.
Yeah, you know, we're definitely a more conservative county, and I appreciate a lot of that. And, you know, I think that for me, it's one of those things that I just don't want something in a logo that's going to make someone feel bad about living here or not want to come visit here. I just don't think it's worth it. I think we have so much great history in this county that has nothing to do with the Noose or Hangtown. I mean, we really have an amazing county, and you know, I'm kind of glad to see that we've moved away from that whole thing. So, you know, it's an interesting thing. I don't think it's the hugest piece of news, but it's definitely interesting that they've had it come up over the years and it actually passed this time, and unanimously, which was interesting because I thought there'd be maybe one person who would have wanted to keep it.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great move on their part. I think it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well, then we've got this other piece of news that I thought this was really cool. I had no idea, but Dorado County ranks #2 in the state for purchasing power. And they mean primarily purchasing power, I believe, with housing. And it says that we were just barely edged out by Placer County, but it just goes to show that we've got 2 counties right in the area here that for average income and compared to the cost of living, that we are second in California for actually having the most purchasing power. I had no idea. What did you have any clue?
No, I had no idea. I mean, obviously everyone wants to come move here. I mean, we have a lot of people coming, and it does offer a lot of great, I just didn't realize that that's the position we were in the whole state of California, which is really amazing that we live in such a great county already.
Yeah, I mean, I really would have thought it would have been somewhere in Central Valley, right? Because housing prices, I would imagine gas prices, food prices, all that stuff would be less. But I think when you balance it out, because we have a lot of income opportunities here, and so when you balance the 2 things between income and cost, it sounds like we're in a pretty good position. So just another reason to move to Dorado County.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you see anything else in this article that was interesting to you?
I was intrigued that the first one on the list was Tennessee. I did see that. Just, I know it's not California based. I was curious on what that was, but it was Tennessee. I can't remember what the town was.
Oh, Williamson.
Williamson, I think.
And that was, so they did a California study and we were #2. And then nationally, we were 198 out of 3,000 counties. So I thought that was pretty cool too. I mean, that's pretty high.
Yeah. Out of 3,000 for sure.
Yeah. Truth be told, I don't know if you do this, but I look at, I'll have clients who are moving to Boise or Tennessee or Florida or Texas. And so sometimes I'll look up like, what are they buying and for what price? And at least here, oftentimes we are more expensive than where they're moving, but not as much as I would think.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, you get a little bigger house or it's a little newer. But Texas property taxes are 2% plus, and we're at 1.1% unless you have some extra bonds. And there's just a lot of things that actually make us quite affordable. Have you heard about the new Prop 19 that was voted in last fall?
I'm not, well, I'm sure I was at the time because I did all my research, but right now I'm drawing a blank on which one actually Prop 19 was. Can you remind me?
Yeah, so there's a couple different parts to it, but the part that I find fascinating was it used to be as a senior, so if you're over 55, you could move within your own county and keep your tax basis, or there were a couple select counties, Dorado County was one of them, that you could move to and keep your tax basis. So like if you sold in Los Angeles and you moved to Dorado County and you lived in that house 20, 30 years, you can keep your lower tax basis. But Prop 19 made it that any senior can move from any county to any county and keep their tax basis. And I mean, it's just another thing that makes really California, I haven't researched as far as does Texas do that? Does Vermont do that? I don't know. But I think it's a really nice benefit for people who have been long-standing taxpayers to be able to take their tax basis and stay in the state.
And yes, instead of leaving and feeling that pressure to leave, that they can, still downsize and do whatever that they need for that time of their life and be able to continue where they were. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So anyways, thank you so much for coming out today and being my co-host and chatting about these other random articles.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching our show today. And episode 3 will come out next week. What it holds, we'll find out next time. So signing off, I'm Morgan Larson with Bliss Real Estate Team. If you ever have any questions, we certainly would love to help you out. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Oh.